All right, everyone. How are you? How you doing? Good? That's great. Welcome to this week's episode of our podcast, Is Breakfast Included? On the show this week, we have Carlsbad. Carlsbad is a singer, Carly Burns, and her guitar player, Duncan Stewart. They were kind enough to sit down with me. We currently all work together, but they were kind enough to sit down with me and talk about some of their music, how they got together, a little bit about their past. And then this conversation just turned into a real conversation of us kind of getting to know each other. And I was really happy with it. We did talk about the band. We did talk about the music. We did talk about Yeehaw. We talked about Boots. And it was a lot of fun, and I hope you really enjoy it as much as I did having it. All right, guys, let's check it out.
Yeah.
All right, tell me who you are. Tell everyone who you are.
I am Carlsbad. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I also work in wardrobe and do stylist work.
Okay.
And I'm from Cedar City, Utah. It's not too far from here, and currently live in Dublin, Ireland.
Carlsbad, is that your government name, or is that
Yeah.
is that what you perform under?
My uncle gave me that nickname a long time ago because he trains thoroughbreds, race horses.
Okay.
And they had a crazy horse that they decided to name after me that was from California. So Carlsbad, yeah, it works.
It does.
And
I'm Dunx. Not my government name. I'm also a singer-songwriter, producer sort of guy, recordist, and
where are you from?
I was born in Dublin, grew up in Australia, and here I am in America. But I don't live here. I live in Dublin.
Cool. And you still live in...
I live in Dublin.
You live in Dublin?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've lived there for the last 3 years.
Okay.
3
Straight
years.
from Utah to Dublin?
No, this is also very long and probably boring, but
No.
I was born in Utah, lived there until I was about 10, moved to Washington, D.C., went to a British school in D.C., and ended up going to university in the U.K., moved to New York, and then started working in music, and during COVID moved to Dublin with Dunx and his brother,
Okay.
Ross, who's a photographer.
And he's out here with us too.
Yeah.
Right.
One big fan.
So is that's how you met Dunx?
So I met Duncan.
She was working at Electric Lady
Yeah.
Studios in New York.
Yeah, in like 2017. I was working Electric Lady, and there was this big session, this big band coming in, and we'd been told to, like, you know, be on our best behavior. And at the time I was kind of manning the desk, so I'm looking at who to let in the building.
Yeah.
And Dunx was like pressing the buzzard, and I was like, there's no way this kid has any business in the building. And I was like, hi, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, I'm here for the session. And he was the first person that came in.
And I'd just seen Larry David on the street.
Yeah. So that was the first thing
pretty
he
excited
said
about
when he
that.
came in. I was like, what? Who are you? What are you here to do? I guess it's very
So this was
ageist of me.
He was your introduction to the big band.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, he was. You were the first person I met. And it's funny, we were talking about this the other day, and it's so hard to say this without sounding creepy. But like when I met Dunx and we came in, I just felt like I was going to know him for a long time, or like, I don't know. You know, sometimes when you meet someone and you're like,
You have that connection.
Yeah.
And almost immediately, like, yeah, I do.
yeah.
You know, I have a partner in this podcast. Her name's Lisa. Yeah. So yeah, you know Lisa from the podcast.
Yeah, because I am a fan.
Okay. Same thing. I met her and I was like, we instantly connected. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna know this person forever.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
her and her husband and my wife were all best friends.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt that way. I'm sure Duncan didn't feel that way about me at all. He probably didn't even remember that. But yeah, it was this weird thing. And then the band that was in for a while, and everyone that came in from their camp was just so incredibly nice, and it just seemed like everyone was really taken care of, and like the vibe was really good. Yeah, it was one of those really weird things where I didn't ask anyone for a job, but really wanted to work with them.
Yeah.
I just kind of like set it in my head, and then just through circumstance and weird
Manifesting.
Yeah, probably me manifesting and praying to hang out with Duncan. They offered me a job
Before the session was over?
You got offered a couple of jobs, actually.
Yeah.
They were like multiple departments looking for her. So that's pretty cool.
But I was really, I couldn't believe it. It's so exciting when that happens. When
It is, right? It is. Do you believe in manifestation?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. If you put your mind to something, well, yeah. If you put stuff out to the universe, or vice versa, if you let stuff in, that same sort of stuff responds to you. So
I'm a big believer in saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do.
But yeah, I believe in that as well. Like, I don't know how it works, and I don't know why sometimes it does work and sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes I think I'm doing the same. I don't know. It's strange. I don't even know what to call it. But when it does work out, it's so
I think when it does
magical.
work out, it's because it's supposed to work.
Yeah, it's meant to be.
I would agree with that. Like, I think you're probably not realizing that when it doesn't work out, something else is meant to happen.
Yeah.
What was your role in this session?
Ambiguous. Just like audio engineering sort of stuff, but there was a lot of chefs in the kitchen, so it was kind of a strange session, actually.
Yeah.
But loved working with Electric Lady.
Did you learn a lot?
That was my next sentence. Yeah, no, I really did. It's it's a special building. Love New York, but yeah, no, that was probably a period of some of the most learning, to be honest.
But you're a musician as well. Did you have your own project going at the time?
Kind of. Like, I started out by making music, back in Sydney, in Australia. And as a result, that's how I got into the audio engineering, producing sort of stuff, because I started recording us. And then that band fell apart, and I was more into the studio stuff, and I kind of fell away from music for a while, but was always writing stuff in the background. And actually, now I think about full circle and manifesting what you did when we were on tour with Carlsbad here.
Well, not on my tour, but on tour with the band.
When we were on tour with the band, when like fast forward a couple of years or whatever, and she did join us on tour. We were going somewhere, I can't remember. Runs up to me and she's like, "All right, I've trapped you. You're finally going to show me your music," because
we were on the plane.
Yeah.
We were leaving Joshua Tree. We'd just done this shoot, and I knew forever, like, you can hear it in his speaking voice. I was just like, I know this guy has like really good music.
Yeah.
And he's so shy. I cornered him. I was sitting next to him and he was in the window seat. So like, and we had like a couple hour flight. Yeah. And I think I even asked him to like put his password in and just took his computer.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's so much, like that's the thing. There's so much that he hasn't put out that he needs to put out. And
is Duncan very humble?
Yeah. Well,
No,
most of the time until he's
amazing.
not.
I'm talking about it like he's not even here.
No, he is. Yeah. And he's very shy until you force him to come out of his shell. But it's great when he does.
I don't know. A lot of engineers as yourself have that same story. They were musicians and they started recording their own band, and then they just kind of fell in love with doing that, or really found their niche. I have a friend who did it as well, and he told me once you learn the art of recording, it makes you a better tech because you can talk to the audio people.
Yeah.
You understand their language.
Yeah, exactly. You can relay things from
as opposed to me going, "Hey, I need more monitor in my monitor."
Yeah, exactly.
I get you.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, Duncan's main role here has always been like, he is one of these unique people that has an equal amount of left brain, right brain. And whether or not he wants to use either of I think you prefer one or the other.
Yeah,
but,
I find it hard to blend the two.
But that's part of your skill set, is like you can merge the two and kind of communicate and translate the creatives to the techs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. It just means I find it harder to be creative when I'm being technical, if you know what I mean. That's something I've tried to still working out how to figure that out.
How long were you guys on tour together before started sharing your music with?
Well, speaking of manifesting, I think I knew I wanted to work with him before he even realized that was something that was going to happen or was a thing. But we were probably...
I didn't know you made music because she also had a musical past.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when I found it. I might have actually been at the studio at like, you know, Electric Lady, one of people you're working with. Like, you know, she played Webster Hall last year. I was like, what? And they showed me
I used to be in a DJ group
Called?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
It was, I mean, it was definitely one of those phases where it was like, you know, electronic scene.
I've seen your dance moves, so I believe you.
Yeah. No. It was, it's called Fight Club.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing when I was working in New York as well. Oh,
Okay.
we did. We headlined Webster Hall, which was fun. And it was like two guys. One guy was very into like Andy Kaufman and luchador wrestlers and wore a mask and like never revealed his identity.
Uh-huh.
So this was before like Orville Peck and Marshmallow and like
Did you have that whole Tony Clifton thing going on?
exactly. Yeah. And like he'd opened for Skrillex years ago, like, and then he was kind of our hype man. And they were friends with like Major Lazer and Zed and Skrillex and that kind of scene. So yeah, I used to do like vocals and DJ with them. And then I kind of went a different direction.
Okay.
But yeah, Duncan likes to bring it up when he wants to embarrass me. Not that I have anything to do.
nothing to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
No, Webster Hall, man. It's a big deal.
Yeah. It was a fun time. It was a very specific time in music. It's just so different to, I think I learned so much from that era because it was like, I think we were constantly chasing what was popular at the time. You know, they'd pivot, whether it was like drum and bass or trap music or a bit of dubstep. And like, I think it was nice to learn if you make what's really authentic to you, I think people are going to respond in a very real way, like long term, as opposed to just kind of a flash in the pan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. You know,
Yeah.
it does make sense. If you're just kind of following the trend, you just kind of get lost in that.
Yeah.
You start, you know, oh yeah, they're cool, but they sound like them.
Yeah.
You know.
And then their next single sounds like this, and which
so
was
we gotta
good.
Chase that because that's cool now.
Yeah. And I think you do have to experiment with different sounds and inspiration until you can kind of figure out what feels like you, and finding the right team. Like that was the other thing. I always wanted to make the music we're making now, but I couldn't find creativity is so strange in that way. It's like sometimes it's so easy and symbiotic and it just flows. And other times you know exactly what you want to do, but for some reason you just can't get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you play as well?
I do. I play guitar, not very well, but enough to like get my point across.
Yeah.
She plays good. She's just.
Do you write your own melodies? Like, do you come in with a melody and then Duncan will just say, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
She comes in with fairly fully formed songs.
Yeah.
I'd say some of them like work out more. Like the more kind of electronic sort of ones, they kind of get developed as a bit more in the studio. But the others, I'd say she just plays away on the guitar. She's singing all the time. Yeah. I often have to tell her to stop singing as opposed to sing more. She's the opposite of shy, I'd say.
And other than being her engineer, producer, you play on these songs as
On
well?
those songs, yeah. Play guitar mainly.
Just one song that stood out of you guys is Still Life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I told you the other day, it's very, the intro, your voice is very Margot Timmons from Cowboy Junkies, you know, and you don't like lift from her, but it's that vibe.
I'm a big fan of hers. So
And it's
thank
really
you. That means
cool.
a lot.
And
So
then
you
the
do
music
lift
is
from
so textured, you know, it's the right amount of tremolo on the guitar. And, you know,
Yeah.
is that something you guys, is that what you say? You were looking for somebody to find those sounds in your head?
Yeah. And the first EP, our friend Dave Curley, who also produces with us and owns a recording studio in Dublin, kept calling the sound Future Yeehaw because it had like elements of electronic and then country roots or folk and yeah, exactly. It was nice for people to understand that both of those elements could click and be something cool, you know? And like I think David put like whip sounds and thunder and gunshots and like the percussion, and you know, he was totally game for it and like understood it. And so yeah, it was like I was like, okay, I found my people.
Is that what you would call it, future Yeehaw?
Yeah, exactly. And I always have a hard time, you know, when, like genres are so specific. Like I always admire people that know exactly what to call a sound and like where it came from. And, you know, like I love saying things like shoegaze and dream pop, but I don't think I ever really know exactly what it means.
I don't either. But your guys' music is very, I didn't want to say shoegaze, but it's very gazy.
Oh, no, I love,
dreamy, yeah.
You know, and it's really cool. You know, the voice and the guitar work on it. I love the guitar work, being a guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of room there to really fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't. You're very disciplined.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to do this because, you know, some cats just want to play. And they don't care what else is going on in the song. They're like, I'm just going to play. I'm going to put these notes and I'm going to put it in. You know,
put some more notes.
More notes on there, and then we put a fucking sitar
and layer.
You know? Yeah, we did do a fair amount of layering, but yeah, it was good. It was like a COVID project that between the three of us, the two of us here and Dave.
Yeah,
we really just got into it and like embodied that sort of vibe, and I don't know, between the three of us found the space between us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
brought the songs, and there was just the right feelings to it. And like you talk about the discipline, like Still Life, there's a really cool, like a Fender 6 start to it.
Yeah,
it was nice. It was also one of those things where when we got to Ireland, we didn't, like, we'd been on tour. We'd just finished a huge tour in 2019, and we were so, you know, when you're on tour, you're needed all the time, and you're so busy, and you're running around, and you're traveling, and then all of a sudden to just go to kind of that silence of what are we going to do now? And who am I? And I mean, I know just hearing from like people we've worked with on crew, hearing how they pivoted from like a very specific skill, you know, like I think one of our friends is like in farming now, or weed farming.
Weed farming.
He's a farmer.
He's been doing that for a while.
But like, you know, I think we'd found ourselves just kind of stuck in a house together. Again, it was very similar to the airplane where I just kind of cornered Duncan and was like, look, I want to do this. And our friend Dave is just so enthusiastic and so dedicated to the craft. And you and him had a really nice balance. And then there was, similar to getting this job and cornering Duncan, there's a band called Saint Sister in Ireland that I'm a huge fan of. They're a duo. They do like these amazing harmonies. The girl Gemma Doherty plays harp and synths. And like, I just asked Dave because I love the harp, which also happens to be the national emblem of Ireland. And cool fact is it's the only country with an instrument as their national emblem.
Is it?
Yeah, which is so special. And there's a real magic to Ireland in that, like, you know, for such a small island, the poetry and the literature and the music and kind of the musical storytelling and the instrumentation is so prolific. Like, it runs really deep there.
Yeah. Like,
I think everyone that lives there is talented in some way, shape, or form, and very gifted. Anyway, so I said to Dave, I wanted to get a harpist in, and it happened to be Gemma from Saint Sister. And it was one of those weird things where I'd been listening to their music and had been really inspired and wanted to kind of add elements of theirs into my own.
Yeah.
And then to have her in the room kind of facilitating that was really crazy. Like, I was so nervous before our first session with her.
Freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
was
she's
this your first time recording like your
my own music? Yeah. Yeah. Which felt really.
So I was very nervous anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just, again, like working at a studio and seeing all of the different artists that came into Electric Lady, like, it was intimidating, or even just, you know, you sometimes don't feel like you're worthy to share that space, because I think recording is such a sacred thing. It's like, I mean, I know we don't use tape anymore, but it feels like the time is precious, and you have to be there and be intentional. And it felt wonderful to have people like supporting that.
I think the days of coming into a studio for 3 months and just hanging out
Yeah.
record one song. 3 years later, you have I think those days are over. So, like you said, coming in with the very intentional and just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it is a
especially
privilege.
and it all can be done in your bedroom now.
Yeah,
To
which
come
is
in-
also great.
Yeah.
But it did feel very special.
Yeah, because we'd made like the bones of it, particularly that song in bedrooms and stuff. But then coming in, it did feel like that was a special time actually with making that first EP particularly.
Yeah, and the world was quiet.
Yeah,
We broke, there was like a 5-kilometer rule and the studio was just a little bit further than that. Yeah, just being in there and like it was so funny, like this great drummer, again Irish, Dylan Lynch, who played for Little Green Cars and now they have a band called Soda Blonde, and he's one of those drummers that like he has a jazz background but can like do really heavy rock, and like I've honestly never heard anyone play the way he plays. It's how would you describe it? I feel like
it is quite hard. It's very expressive. It's like
and dynamic and unique. And he came in and like I just have this really clear memory of him in a mask but on his own, like in the room, and that's how it was. Like nobody really knew how things were spread at that time or if he needed to keep a mask on the whole time. And
I always have a lot of admiration for folks like you guys who play music, make music, and then also do what we do, because it's hard.
yeah.
Like you guys, you said you came off a huge tour in 2019. So I know, so for you to like write the bones of it and just keep, because it is a lot of work out here.
Yeah.
Some people think we are just out here just hanging out.
Well, everyone's jealous. You see, you get the ideal, and like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing. Like touring is amazing, but it is hard work. And what I find strange is when you finish and the crash you get.
Yeah. The come down is hard.
Yeah. The come down is hard. Just from.
Do you find that?
I was just telling somebody this yesterday. The high when I walk away from a show here, the high, and then I go back to my room and it's just quiet. I find myself at times, not to get too deep here, but I find myself times just tearing up.
Yeah. You can get deep. We're deep people.
It just. So yeah.
No, it is.
And then when you do something
it's real
that big, and then it ends, and then you're like, what?
I'm always in awe of the artists as well, because I feel the same way, like the adrenaline, and there is a real energy exchange between even just us and the crowd, and you can feel it very night to night, and if the crowd's really hungry or euphoric or and it is emotional.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I always thought it was just me that felt like that.
No, because it is. It's like a primal thing. Music is in general, but then when you gather people en masse, and everyone's that's what they're there for and they're experiencing
it's
it.
as they say, fellowship. And like I last night after the show, I went back to my room and I wasn't, in all honesty, and I'm not just kissing your ass, I knew we were going to do this today, and I thought, cool, I have something that I'm looking forward to.
Me too.
And
I was so excited.
So I was just like, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get up. I went and had breakfast with a couple of guys, and then this is all, I normally sleep.
Was breakfast included?
It was included this morning. No, I normally, 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon on a day off, I'm asleep.
Yeah.
And then, because it's that crash for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. I think it's also that collective energy of like, there's something so beautiful about the way everyone's working together for the same goal, and it all happens. We're all getting to that showtime point.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much, everyone's, it's like its own ecosystem.
When that goes away, it
it's like
empty,
the someone explained this to me, like when you drink it lets out happy cells, and then when you wake up those happy things are gone. That's why when you wake up
Duncan knows about that.
After a night of drinking, like you're like, fuck, I better start drinking again to get happy. I don't drink, but that's what it was explained to me, and it made me understand that side of things. But I've been made to feel welcome here, and what I love about this is you might not know everyone on the crew, but everyone is walking by going,
Yeah.
everybody wants this show to happen.
And you bring such nice energy as well.
Oh, thank you.
Like we were talking about, one of our favorite moments in the show is when you and I have a little trade-off moment where the jacket's hanging from the base.
And I walk
yeah.
down and you just grab it.
Yeah. It is. It's a fun moment in the show.
It is.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like the
mine's
bass
probably
being a
our
coat
little
hanger.
fist bump.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Duncan and I are there right before the encore.
Yeah.
We usually make a joke, like we have to stop meeting like this. It's unusual. It's a corny joke, but every night it's different.
And keep meeting.
That's good. You're going to have to come up with some new lines.
Yeah,
Some new one-liners.
Yeah.
For the next
I have to surprise you next time.
Let me pull out my list of them. Anyway, back to Carlsbad.
No, but it's true. Yeah. I don't know. What am I?
No. So you said your grandfather gave you that name.
Oh, my uncle. Yeah.
Your uncle.
Yeah, exactly. My Uncle Joe.
Right off the bat, when you started doing this music, did you say, this is what I'm going to call it?
Or
did you go through a slew of names? Like,
I've always wanted a nickname. I don't know why. Like, Dunx grew up in Australia, and I feel like everyone in Australia always gets a nickname.
yeah.
Like Duncan, Dunx, his brother's name is Ross, and they call him Rooster and like Roo. And I never had a nickname growing up. And I think I kind of I liked that my Uncle Joe called me Carlsbad. Again, we're continuously going back to manifesting. But now everyone on tour calls me that, and yeah, I'm enjoying having a nickname. Yeah, I made my own nickname up. Another fun fact about Uncle Joe is he actually happens to be in one of Duncan's songs.
Yeah.
He has a song called "I Land at Sea," and my Uncle Joe calls the horse races in Utah, and Duncan recorded him calling the races, and it's this cool breakdown in one of his tracks.
Really?
So Uncle Joe's a constant in our life.
Yeah, really
When you wrote the song, did you hear this is going to be cool?
Well, kind of, because I'd written the start of it in Australia, but then I was actually traveling through with them in Utah, and then they're like, let's go to the races. And Utah was quite an experience because it's quite different, I actually felt like I was in the west of the country, and there were
He was
most
playing
people.
cowboy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we went to the races, and he called it so, he's such a character. He really is. And called it with such animation. And then I was just as soon as I heard it, I was like, wait, this is perfect. Because I was finishing the song at that time. I was like, wait, I got this. And
Did you record it on your phone, or did you actually
Ross filmed him.
Oh, okay.
And then used that same footage for the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
all
Man. But it's awesome that you heard it. You heard it and you're like, this would be perfect for it.
Yeah, and it actually worked. And sometimes that sort of stuff happens with manifesting. I remember I was like, that file should work there. So I pulled it in, and I was like, maybe it would work around here. And then when I played it all, the crescendos of his energy and stuff were
just fit.
I was like, oh, okay, well that's done.
That's awesome. I want to hear that.
Yeah, I think you'll like that track.
Yeah. I haven't told anyone here my nickname that I've been called for 13 years.
Will you guys share us?
No, because somebody else on this production shares that nickname. Everyone calls me B.
Ah! That's great.
The first time I heard somebody say that, I was like, huh?
You're like, who? Oh, you must be hearing a lot. That's great.
Yeah, you've been hearing that a lot.
We'll have to come up with something.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with something different for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what
There's
we should
a
do.
new band
Yeah.
down.
There's a new bee in town.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah. At least for now.
So I did hear sorry, I'm flipping the question to you, but I'm a big nerd for this band, and I heard that you worked with NERD.
I did. NERD. I started off in country music.
Which I also love.
Really?
Yeah.
We're gonna get more to Utah in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for them, and then I was the artist I was working for. I was kind of getting burnt out, and it had been 3 years that I was in the industry, and I was like, he was slowing down, and in country, it's only weekends.
Yeah.
So we went from having 16 shows a month to 5, and I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. And the day that I decided I was going to let them know, hey, this is my last weekend, I get a call from a friend of mine who had met on the road, and he goes, hey, a guy named Bill Reeves is going to call you. Just don't say no. And this guy called me 20 minutes later, and he's like, I production manage a band called NERD. We need a guitar tech. We need somebody who's a real guitar tech, not one of their boys. Can you come out and do this? And So I did it, and it was fun. And working with, I didn't know who Pharrell was.
Yeah.
I didn't know who the Neptunes were.
That's good. I think that's good when you go into gigs and you're not like.
And it was really cool. I worked with the band were some of the most amazing musicians I'd ever worked for.
Wow.
All guys from Philly. They just all had that. And the guitar player was just, his main instrument was pedal steel.
Oh, wow.
Do you know a guy named Robert Randolph? He's a pedal steel.
That sounds really familiar.
Nephew.
Yeah.
So he played guitar with he played guitar, but he played it with pedal steel picks on his fingers. I mean, it was rock. You've heard NERD's music.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's my main instrument.
Yeah. And, that's what's so sick about them. Like, I feel like they're such an anomaly. Yeah. It's really all live, cool. But it's like hip hop and electronic and like so
and
sick.
They really did something for me. They took me out of the country for the first time.
Wow.
And, like I've said it before, I thought I was going to live and die in the same town I grew up in.
Wow.
And here I was.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
Can't even get home.
I know, right? I've been trying to go
on the road.
I've been trying to go home for 3 weeks now. But it was really cool. NERD was a great experience. And Pharrell was probably one of the nicest people I've ever worked for.
Wow. And he just seems to not age.
I know, right?
Like he's looked the same since I was.
He's got that Benjamin Button.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Younger.
Yeah, he's getting younger. Yeah, well, that's cool. Sorry, I just had to geek out for a moment.
Yeah, that's fine. No. I think I've been very fortunate. Like you said, the universe, whatever you put out, you get back. I've been very fortunate that the acts I've worked for have all been really good people. You enjoy the music, and it's just been a good vibe.
Yeah,
it hasn't all been good times, but only had one bad gig in my life.
That's great.
Yeah. So, touch wood,
Yeah.
Yeah, music seems to bring that out of people for the most part.
Is this your first road gig?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was studio before this.
Right on.
8 years later.
First and only. Yeah.
And this is your first touring act as well.
Yeah, my first and only. Right. Yeah, which is rare. Yeah, similar to you as well. Like when they asked me to come out, I didn't really care what it was I was doing. I just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I'd learn a lot.
Yeah.
And a really good friend that's an amazing mix engineer, Tom Elmhurst, and I was like, what should I do? Because I didn't know at the time if I wanted to stay in studio land or I knew I wanted to work for this band, but I was kind of like, what, I think I was kind of shocked when it actually happened because I'd been thinking about it so much. And he, was like, this experience is such an anomaly. They're their own ecosystem, and like you will learn so much with them in a week than you will doing anything else. And he was not wrong. And that's a good thing about they involve people. Like even if you're, I feel like sometimes if you work with an artist, you're in a box and that's your role. And they're so generous with everyone here. It's like they ask for your opinion and they want you involved, and like there's an equal amount of like fun as much as there is hard work, and everyone works really hard, but like
and just like learning off to some of like the best people doing so many, like we said, cogs in a wheel. There's so many different things to be done.
Everyone here is the best at what they do.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for since 2006. And I learned more in the first week, than I have in the last. And that's just me being in one gig for 13 years.
Wow.
And then coming and going, you get very content.
Yeah.
Someplace, and then you go somewhere and you're like, you experience. I hit the big time now. Like, you kind of have to step it up and go like, I need to earn my keep now.
Yeah.
Like I know I can do it, but I haven't had to do it in so long.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I looked at it, coming from being
that's so cool
a veteran tech, and it's been very eye-opening. It's been very welcoming, and it's been very cool. That
makes me happy.
Yeah,
I'm glad to
and
hear.
like I said, all you guys have been very, very cool to me.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have you here as well.
Yeah, it's quite familial. There's a family vibe about
it is.
Yeah.
People tend to stay for a while,
and it's inspiring. Like I wrote Still Life on the Road when we were on tour. And like most of that EP I wrote while we were touring. I think like you had like a little travel guitar or something that you'd given to me. But I do think sometimes when you're so busy and you're watching other people create at such a high caliber, it kind of inspires you to to keep busy as well and have your own outlet.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like spurred us. And then the band happened to hear some of Duncan's solo work and then had asked him to start producing and recording some of their stuff as well. So
wow.
You've had a really cool
organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't any like,
Ocean.
oh, let me do it. It's just like, you know,
Yeah. Well,
organic is the word for it.
Quiet.
You're so quiet.
Yeah.
Voiced myself on them. Yeah, no, it was, yeah, I got asked to come out here because there was a little opening. So I started doing that. And then I knew my background was studio and music and all that.
Yeah.
And then just halfway through that first tour, there was some sort of like music to make for the show. And they're like, oh, we want these keys to do this one progression to transition from one song to the other. So they just called me up and I was like, what? Like, you want to give this a go? I'm like, yes, please.
Did you know you could do it? Or were you just up for the challenge?
Probably both. I never really questioned the first part. Like, I never was like, yeah, I guess so. Intrinsically, I was like, yeah.
You like a challenge.
Yeah, I do like a challenge, actually. Yeah. Like,
he does not like to be wrong either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just stayed up that night and it was on my laptop till about 6 a.m. It's like, I think that's good. Sent it away the next day. Didn't hear back for 4 weeks. It's like, well, that was fun.
Okay.
Until they called me up and they're like, I love what you did with that thing. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the feeling you chase,
Yeah.
you know, like just, not just the validation, but like, you know,
Yeah.
the creation. I guess you shouldn't put, as we were talking about before, you shouldn't put creations out there to try and sound like someone, but
Yeah.
you put it out there because you want it to come back to you. Like, you want someone to enjoy that. You know?
Yeah. And also
Whether
what I
it's
get
one
from you
person
guys
or-
is you didn't put this out there to be like, oh, look what we did.
Yeah.
It's almost like you put it out there because, hey, we love this and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Why do you put it out?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to put it out, then it's just going to do nothing. So what's the point of that?
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like people are confused sometimes, like, you know, asking me what do I want to do or like long-term goals, and like music's never been, I mean, of course you want people to hear your music and like I love performing, but when we'd finished recording the future Yeehaw EP, I didn't even know if I was going to put it out. It was just kind of something that felt great to do. And then I think to kind of celebrate it, we did like this free live gig in Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the promoters from Dublin that is also friends with us, but I'd like to think that he didn't offer me a gig because we're friends, but he offered me a gig at Electric Picnic Festival, which is like this big festival in Ireland, and so it kind of took off from there. And that felt great to be like, oh, I can put this out and we can perform this, and like, you know, but I think, I never cared about, I think it's too scary to care, you know?
Yeah.
I think it feels nice to just do it just for the doing of the thing.
Yeah. I think if you're doing something that for the glory, you're going to be disappointed.
Always.
Yeah. You'll be even if you get it, you're going to be chasing the next thing.
The law of diminishing returns.
Plus, you're not going to make anything that's as good as what your like primal skill set or whatever. You know, like when you go to make music, it's generally in a certain vein or something. You know.
Yeah, and it's hard now to make music. Like, I think everyone's now striving for like a 15-second TikTok hit.
Yeah.
And I just don't think music should be consumed that way. No. And, you know, it's like songs have, you know, an intro and a crescendo, and like to hear 15 seconds of a snippet is just not enough. And it's all about numbers and like
likes, numbers, and it is, right?
Yeah. And I know there's so many positives to the accessibility now. Yeah, I just feel like if I got too caught up in doing it for different reasons, it wouldn't be fun anymore. I like to have fun.
Right on. Do you find, you guys being in Dublin, do you guys find indie artists or new music more accepted in Europe than it is in the US? In the US, it's very, in my opinion, it's very fickle. Like, if you're either the flavor of the week or you're doing
Yeah.
you're sounding similar to something
To someone else.
where I would do festivals in Europe with bands and then just see like indie artists playing these huge festivals and the crowd just being there just because it's music.
Yeah.
Well,
Dublin, you go first.
you go.
No, I'm talking a lot.
That's not unusual. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Europe will, in general, amazing fans. I think, like, so people who just love music and are there for music. Throughout all the countries, but Dublin specific or Ireland in general, such a smaller market that it is much more. Everyone knows each other, so sometimes indie people support each other, and it's more of a community sort of vibe.
Yeah.
It's like that's why Carly could get like one of her favorite Irish bands coming in to play on her record and then being a part of her band and then writing music together, and now she's producing for her as well. Like,
yeah, Gemma's working with me now. I remember years ago hearing Bjork talk about the scene in Iceland where it was like, they'd share one amp between the bands and everyone knew each other, and was so envious of that because in the States it's so spread out and pockets of like Nashville or New York or
So competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And it's interesting. Like, I have great friends in New York and everyone that worked at Electric Lady was really talented, but we'd never like hang out and jam or share each other's music. It just was, everyone was kind of in their own lane.
Yeah.
And Ireland is so unique, at least to my experience of like everyone's friends and the genres cross and like, there's incredible bands and artists that are making totally different music.
Yeah.
That, especially during COVID would have like writing sessions and would share music or share amps, or like if somebody's guitar is broken down, somebody puts it on Instagram. It's like someone will run over and share their gear with you. Mm-hmm. And it is this like genuine support system.
Yeah, they're quite generous, like with their talents.
They're so generous with their talents, and everyone is so like, I almost get emotional about it because I'm a huge fan of Agnes Obel. Mm-hmm. She's one of my favorite artists, and I saw her perform in Ireland not too long ago, and she said when she was on stage that it's one of the only places she ever gets nervous playing because, she was acknowledging that kind of what we were talking about earlier. Everyone in Ireland seems to really respect music and have this special connection to it.
Yeah.
And they celebrate music as well. I mean, again, like Fleet Foxes played, and they said when they were in Ireland, they wouldn't have existed if they hadn't gone to the West Coast, and like the trad sessions of people singing together. And or even there's like a really great interview with Kurt Cobain talking about visiting Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's a special place.
So, did you find that more in Europe then when you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. There's parts of Europe I don't care for, but
I'll go on.
Tell us more secrets.
No, but there was places that I went and doing what we do, you can't talk to your normal friends about it.
Yeah.
You can't say like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? I had a one-off in Berlin. Like, dick.
Yeah.
You sound like a douche saying that, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell them like the music fans there are real music fans. They're not just seeking that flavor of the week. They love the big bands that are huge, the Harry Styles and the Billie Eilish and so forth. But they just love music.
Yeah.
There in South America, like those fans are just
South America crowds are so expressive.
Yeah.
I wish everyone was like that.
Yeah. It's fucking
They
crazy.
know how to party. Yeah.
And
It is fucking
almost
crazy.
It's almost scary.
Dangerous.
It's almost scary.
The
Like
next place I've seen a barricade broken was in South America.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just remember doing a show
barricades.
in Santiago and looking up in the cheap seats, and everyone's dancing and losing their minds. Like somebody's gonna fall. But it's crazy.
Yeah. It's a great vibe.
Yeah.
Passionate.
So your uncle calls horses. Do you have a thing for horses? Do you love horses? Or?
I love horses.
Yeah.
I love riding horses. Dunx is a good horseback rider. Well, you're from Texas.
Yeah. But
You get on a horse?
No, I have. Got kicked by a horse once.
Oh.
years ago, my house girlfriend, they had horses, and one kicked me on the leg, and then I was just done with it. I realized when you don't walk behind them.
That horse is a jerk.
I'm a dummy, like it's so that. But no, I've ridden a horse maybe once.
Yeah,
but I love horses. I think they're beautiful.
They are beautiful. Yeah, it's like a strong thing in my dad's family.
Yeah.
They always had horses growing up, and he's a cowboy. I pretend that I'm a cowgirl. I pretend that I am. But I love the whole, I mean, again, you're from Texas, but like the whole aesthetic, you have the boots and the Stetson, and like you have certain button down dress shirts for different events. And I think true cowboys as well are like very into nature, and, like I love Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings, and I like all the old school kind of.
Yeah, the OGs.
Yeah.
It's funny because I moved to New Jersey 2 years ago, and then I got this wild hair up my ass that I was going to, I'm going to get back. I want to get back to my native roots. I want to,
Yeah.
And then I'm going to buy a pair of boots. The first two people that called me out were Lisa and my wife. They like, hey, you fucking lived in Texas for 50 years, and now you want to buy boots? Now that you're living in the city, you want to buy boots,
doesn't it?
And but I think it was mainly because I want to stay, I want to keep that part of me that I never had to begin with.
Yeah.
But,
it's a sense of belonging, like a connection to something that
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was called out, and it made me think like they're right. Like I've never owned I owned a pair of boots when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But that's it. But
I never wear Stetson, and I wear one all the time in Ireland.
You do?
Yeah. Well,
and you wore cowboy boots to work the other day.
Yeah, I did. But I do like to wear boots a lot.
Yeah.
They give you a little extra confidence, or
do they call them shit kickers in Utah?
Oh yeah, they call them all kinds of things. Are you allowed to tuck your jeans into your boots in Texas? It's only if you've ridden a bull in Utah.
I think if you tuck your jeans in your boots in Texas, like you're dressing to get your ass whipped.
Exactly. Yeah. Only bull riders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just go out on the town like that, that's the wardrobe you wear to get to an ass.
They know
whipping.
you're a drugstore cowboy.
Yeah. So.
We have that in common.
But no, I that was it's funny because I wanted a pair of boots, and this was recent. It wasn't like,
what kind of boots did you get?
Well, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't. I was
Lisa, come on. let him live his little cowboy life.
No, and then they were like, "Well, next you're going to be wearing a hat and the Texas tuxedo and the bolo tie."
Yeah,
but
it's Spurs. I'm going to get you a pair of boots.
I didn't get boots. I wanted some, and then I thought, well, where do I wear them? And then to be honest with you, I started having all these problems with my feet, and I had to start wearing Hoka shoes.
Oh yeah,
I'm at that age.
No,
I can't even wear Vans anymore. Anyway,
you walk a lot. You work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, what if I started wearing boots and I broke them in? Then I could be the guy wearing boots, handing off guitars, and I could have my own thing, man.
I can see that for you.
But
yeah. We'll get you some insoles, and I'm already like, how do we make this happen? There is a place here called Boot Barn, and it's a great store.
Where is Boot Barn?
There's 2 locations.
You sound like a commercial.
I know.
2 great locations.
This episode is sponsored by. No, but like Boot Barn is great. And I love.
We'll be back in December.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take you.
We'll hit up Boot Barn.
You don't have to wear your boots all the time, but I think you should just have a pair.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You should have a pair.
You never know.
You never know
when you need to bust them out.
Yeah. I might be more in the Lisa camp. Wear some Converse for me.
I've been trying to get you in boots for a long time.
Eddie, you guys have a new single coming out. You said it to me earlier.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm excited. I'm really excited about this one because actually it's the most collaborative song we've had together. Because I have a tendency to stick to 4 chords, and I think Duncan calls me out on it all the time. And you wrote
there's something wrong with it.
Thanks. But you wrote what are you calling that? A middle 8, a break?
Breakdown, middle 8.
He knows all the terminology. I don't.
I've heard that term a lot in this camp, middle 8.
Yeah, well, there would be a breakdown or
Was that what most people call a bridge?
a bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I grew up calling it a bridge as well, but then a bridge at least in this camp, so I've just changed.
See,
my
now you're going to see how
terminology.
specific
A
you
bridge
get.
is like a pre-chorus here, which I always thought a bridge was the breakdown too.
Okay.
Anyway, a part that's different from the rest of the song
Is the
you know,
middle
you get
eight.
a verse, maybe something in between, then a chorus, then
And I
do
hear
that
the
again.
middle eight at least 3 times a day.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
We get to the middle eight, and then
Yeah.
so now I'm asking.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just 8 bars. So there you go. And by the way, so this song, it wasn't 4 chords, it was 3 chords. So I was like, that's where I draw the line. No, just kidding. All on the Watchtower, 3 chords.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
No.
But
Every Tom Petty song,
Yeah.
3 chords.
Love Tom Petty.
No, it just felt like it needed.
There's power in 3 chords. Yes, yeah,
absolutely.
but you did give it really
Absolutely.
great dynamic. And the most fun thing about this song is we were rehearsing for a show, and it was kind of a new song we were going to try out. So the band was in the room, and there is something to having everyone there playing live together. And Duncan just wrote the guitar. What do you call it? A lick?
Yeah.
Riff?
A riff?
Yeah.
A riff?
What do you say?
I was going to say riff, but
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Yeah. That's almost kind of like Chris Isaac or
Yeah, Chris says it.
yeah. But it was exciting just kind of how easy it came together. And he added like my 2 favorite parts of the song is what Duncan's written. And yeah, I'm excited about it. And this great artist called Ice Cream Color, who has an incredible, like I just fell in love with his artwork on Instagram and had reached out to him very early on to
Visual artist.
Yeah, visual artist. Yeah, he does all of the single and album artwork.
Okay.
He's this really great guy from San Diego, and very recently almost couldn't work with him because a very big name had kind of scooped him up. But he's still working on some stuff with me as well, which is very nice of him. But he's also done some very cool single artwork for this as well, which is exciting. I think it's fun when you kind of envision the whole package of the release and kind of creating and involving friends.
Yeah. And so this is the most collaborative you guys have done, this single.
Yeah.
Is this what? So you usually have come in with a song and then Duncan just kind of puts his touch to it.
Yeah.
So this is something you guys
So,
wrote
yeah,
together
she
pretty
said
much.
that, yeah.
Is this what you envisioned when you wouldn't let him into Electric Ladyland Studios?
It's exactly,
This
Bernie,
what
I'm
you
telling you.
manifested?
Yeah.
You knew right then. Like
I knew
one
we'd
day,
be here doing this podcast. Yeah, but it's definitely what I wanted. And he's such a talented guitarist and producer, and you have a really unique ear. And it's weird, like we fight like siblings all the time, and we don't agree on anything. But as soon as we get in the studio, it's the most like easy going and symbiotic we kind of are together,
Right on.
which is so
A lot of synergy
great.
there.
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool. I like that.
It is hard to find.
I met you guys different times when I got here, and then so I didn't know that you guys had this connection.
Yeah.
So when I was told that you make music, and then they said Dunx also makes music, you should talk to both of them, and they didn't tell
That's
me.
so sweet. Whoever told
They
you
didn't say
that we make
wasn't-
music together.
Yeah, and then so I found you on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, they work together.
Yeah.
That's what they do." So and
I kidnapped him.
yeah, I think it's really cool. Like I said, I thought it was just your stuff when I was listening to it, and then
Well, it is her stuff.
but once I realized you were a big part of it, I mean,
Yeah.
really,
And he is.
that's why I asked her, does she play the guitar on it? Because that's a big part of her music, man. For lack of a better term, the textures you use, and like I said, there's no overplaying. It's just you're playing to the song,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
All the good guitar is him.
And so you like country music.
I love country music. Yeah. My dad only almost exclusively listens to country, and my mom's a bit of a hippie. So I've had like a really dynamic, like
Mm-hmm.
musical upbringing, and started taking violin lessons when I was like 3.
Oh,
So, and I can't play violin anymore. So sad.
no.
I think everyone should keep up their instruments. It's sad when you let one go.
Yeah. Well, I'm a
But-
bad example. Like I play guitar, but I don't play guitar. You know,
I bet you do.
I have a guitar with me here because there's so much time, and so that's been keeping me busy.
Yeah.
To relearn things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
You know,
It's
just
kinda like a
you know
language.
that you can play, but you're like, I'm gonna learn how to play again.
Yeah, you
You
have
know?
to do it every few months if you like.
Yeah, you should do it
Leave
every
it.
day.
Yeah,
really.
you should like a.
Yeah. Do you
discipline.
like country music?
I do. Yeah. Like Johnny Cash and stuff would be my sort of vibe, or
So
Bob
yeah.
Dylan, like Nashville Skyline stuff. But I'd be more blues and kind of alternative and.
So what do you prefer, country or western?
I prefer country western. You know what my favorite thing to listen to is soundtrack music.
Really?
I listen to soundtrack music more
My
than
son loves soundtrack music.
Really?
Yeah.
Your son sounds cool.
He's all right.
I
It's all right.
I love Thomas Newman. Actually, if he's probably the person I'd freak out if I met most. I think he's super talented, and I think I love watching film and having sound and chords have an effect on a scene. You know, music's so powerful that way. Film just wouldn't be the same without it. And sometimes I will watch films just because there's a composer involved that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I know.
Thank you.
Do you have any shows coming up?
I do. Unfortunately Duncan won't be joining me because he's on the road working himself. But I'm playing Workman's in Dublin, which is a really great venue, and I'm opening for a wonderful band called Low Moon. They're LA based. They're very shoegazy, very great. So November 9th, Workman's, and then November 10th, I'm playing this beautiful venue, really small, called the Green Room in Dingle, and that's on the west coast in Ireland.
Okay.
And I'll have my harpist with me.
Right on.
About as west as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for having us. Sorry, my
For sure.
my answers were so ADHD. I feel like people are going to listen to this and be like,
No,
what
this is, you know what? This
He's going to trim the fat.
Okay.
No.
Good.
I
Yeah, please
appreciate.
edit all
I
of this.
appreciate when it's just a conversation because I came in with all this and I didn't. I
bet you
really
didn't
ask any
even.
of it.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate when it's just a conversation. I'm glad Duncan was here. Yeah.
Forcing him into situations. He has some new music coming out soon too.
Yeah. I'd love to hear your music, man.
Yeah, I'll play some for you after this.
I don't know. I don't know if we're in
breakfast.
the same hotel, are we?
I'm staying in Airbnb, but just across the
But
road.
you will be.
I will be. Yeah, for the next leg.
Okay.
Back will be.
We'll
play a
hang
bunch,
out. We'll have a
hopefully, in
weekly hang.
Yeah.
I have a
sounds
guitar.
good.
Yeah, let's do
I
a
bought
jam
a guitar
session.
just for this. Like,
Yes.
Once after the
What'd you
first
get?
week,
What kind
I
of
was like,
guitar?
I bought a Taylor.
Oh.
Acoustic or?
It's an acoustic,
Yeah.
the Taylor
Oh,
Academy.
do they
It's
only
not their
make
high-end
acoustic?
line, but I bought one just like I said. So it's helped.
Yeah, that's been nice with this. Well, I can't wait to hear you play. We're gonna have to create our own side project.
A song circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring the bongos.
Don't do that.
Triangle. Okay. Our podcast is called Is Breakfast. And you know what? Before I say this, I wish Lisa was here because she would have been all over this conversation. She would have been all over
sadly.
this
I mean,
conversation.
I'm very happy to be sitting with you, but I have listened to other episodes, and you two both have such a great dynamic. So sorry I couldn't meet you yet, Lisa.
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa.
Anyway, y'all will meet them.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Anyway, it's called Is Breakfast Included? And if we were having breakfast, what would you have?
I always want savory and sweet, but I think I always tend to order what everyone else wants to order but can't finish. So I always go for like French toast or chocolate chip pancakes, or I'm going to say, because it's fall, pumpkin pancakes.
Pumpkin pancakes.
Pumpkin pancakes.
Duncan?
I usually sleep through breakfast, to be honest. Not much of a breakfast person. And I'm very much a savory person, not a sweet. So I'd probably just go pretty simple and fried eggs and toast with some hot sauce.
Right on.
I've heard your answer on your episode, but has that changed?
It never changes.
Never?
You know, pancakes.
Bacon.
I like pancakes, bacon, and coffee.
Solid.
Nice.
That's it. I've yet to find a really, really, and all the times I've been to Vegas, and the other time I was here I yet to find a great pancake place.
I have a place to take you.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
They're unique pancakes. You haven't been because you wouldn't wake up. But I've tried to take you. But maybe you'll go if Bernie's going to go.
Sounds good.
I'll take you for pancakes.
The pancakes are good anytime, though.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I could talk to you guys all night. We don't have to talk into a recorder.
I know. Maybe we'll go have pancakes after this. But thanks for having us. And
yeah, for sure. And
it's an honor.
No, the honor is all mine.
The honor is
to hang out with you guys every day and just be part of your family.
Now I can go jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jam. December.
Hang out professionally. That's something.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? That was a good time, right? Yeah, I wanted to talk to them about their music, and which we did, and it just turned into this great, just chilled conversation between the three of us. And Carly and Dunx are such cool people, and they were both very welcoming when I got here. But it was a lot of fun. You can check out Carlsbad on Instagram at Carlsbad Yeehaw. November 9th, she'll be at Workman's with Low Moon, and November 10th at the Green Room in Dingle, and she'll have her harpist with her. While you're online, check out our merch store. It is breakfast.bigcartel.com. Check it out. Get yourself something. It's almost Christmas. It's like what? How many? I saw it was like, 200 days? Not even 200 days. Like 16 days. Anyway, don't listen to me. I am done. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.